Welcome to Meta Game
Minute.
Minute.
Dash, you interrupting me is the perfect segue because you had a lot of moments in this episode, and I wanted to do reverse horn order and start with you.
Why? You don't have to. I thought it'd be fun if we did like a duet intro.
No, it was great.
Maybe do Milo first so he can take off so he can go to sleep or something.
I'm pretty tired. Yeah,
I was gonna do that.
Yeah.
Then...
do Milo first.
Thank you for
handing
me, Milo.
Yeah,
you've been a trooper. Oh, look at me! Now I'm the asshole.
A nice
I've been
guy.
starting with Milo for weeks now. Milo, Mr. Ball had stuff to do.
You and your buttery popcorn
Take
skin.
us there. What was the state dinner like for you? What are you looking forward to?
Mostly, I just wish I would have remembered to talk to veteran Elvin Archer earlier, so we could have got that info sooner. Could have used my sending stone a couple more times and shared a little more information back and forth. That kind of pisses me off because that was like one of the things on my list of like 6 things that I wanted to do like last week that I forgot to do this week. So I'm just kind of a little frustrated with that.
Mm-hmm. For sure. What's your takeaway about Gerald? Is he a fucking asshole, or
he seems like a king? He's just a ruler. He does his thing. I'm really not sure about that information they got regarding the dragons and the elves attacking the outpost. It just right? Felt wrong,
right?
Like, in the moment.
Especially because I was telling the dragons. I mean, I don't know if you guys would know this or not necessarily, but metagaming it, Revo was a representative from the Council of Dragons or whatever, and I was telling her like well after we got back about all this stuff, and she was like, unless she's like just a fucking straight murderous poker player, and she's like, yeah, absolutely, like, what about that outpost? Can you tell me about that? Like,
I mean, that doesn't sound too far off from some shit.
No, it could have been. And then in that case, like, Arthur was played by a beautiful face, so won't be the last time.
So it's your fault.
Anything else, Milo?
No. Yeah. I hate that I have a giant turd ball like sitting in the backyard growing plants. That's annoying.
We'll figure
I liked
one out.
the sleek like metal thing that went absurdly fast a lot better.
We'll figure it out. We've solved all the other magical puzzles. One by one we have. So we'll work together. We'll get your fast ass spaceship back. Don't you worry. I, for one, hope you feel better, Milo. Feel free to bow out if you need to do that, and we'll catch you next time. Caleb.
Yeah.
You were like being weird with some kids. That was weird.
Yeah.
You definitely showed them illegal things too. So it's like at this point, I'm pretty sure that's like textbook grooming. At this point, you're like, here, let me make you my confidant about my
Score's a groomer. Score's a groomer.
He's not guilty if he didn't know it was a crime.
Okay, groomer.
Sounds like your defense.
Yeah, Score's turning into a creepy Matt Gates-esque character.
I'll get cut.
Do they have Venmo in this?
Please,
world?
Yeah. So I was totally gonna leave the kids fighting thing because it seemed like we were doing fine without it, but I had to bring it back because I promised her, and I feel like there wasn't any way that I could be okay with not making sure that they fight. And honestly, it just felt like everybody was teaming up with family members, and they were like the 2 that were left over, so I had to go make conversation with them, and it was just as awkward as it was.
I thought it was great. It was just so typical Caleb fashion. You're like, so, you're in high school? What?
Yeah.
Play sports?
What's your
Where do you
deal?
go to school?
What's your backstory?
I'm not allowed within 1,000 feet of a school. That's pretty
Schools,
cool.
I remember those. No, yeah, Scory's not a predator. Let's make.
You know what's great about high school kids?
I have to cut all of this. Quit making the fucking jokes. I have to cut all of it.
Yeah.
No, it's great. It's great. We got a backup recording. We're keeping it. I'm back, baby. But what? I don't know. What else was Scory feeling?
I'm really interested in the outpost now. I cannot wait for dinner to get over because I want to go find out. And I'm very interested to hear what happened to Tiernan, because we gave Tiernan quite a bit of information the last time we were there, and a lot of loot that he could use. And getting into the wrong hands, we seem to be like the leading factor for other people getting things that they shouldn't have, like Julia.
Yeah.
And now this.
Well, and that was my thought. I was like, is it possible that this is Julia? Like, and she's stopping Tiernan from like researching the things that she was researching. They seem to have like a bit of a rivalry, even if it goes one way.
But the fact that the elves and the Dragon Council are involved make me think it's either adjacent to her, or she's got to be I don't know. I don't think there's a direct connection, but who knows? The stories are big.
Well, I just wonder if like a giant robot smashes the city and then they're like, it was dragons. Oh God. Because she's got a robot and it's like shooting fire out of its eyes, and they're like, they were breathing fire down on us.
Like,
but it's just 100-foot
I
robot.
follow. Yeah. If you don't have the language for it, how else are you going to describe it? It looked like a dragon to us.
Right.
Yeah.
You know,
That's
fear
a good
does
theory.
crazy. Fear does crazy shit. So I don't know, you know, because it just, the whole thing about that feels off to me. But again, maybe they're playing me. I don't know.
Yeah. It's funny to find out that Zephyrus or Arthur is kind of the cause of it. If you were the leak, so to speak.
I have been going, and this is a good segue into me, because I have been going kind of back, like leaning hard on my role with the Kingdom of Usma and near the city of Kirlin. You know, wanted to be like the big bad sheriff out in the waste, capturing the bad guys that are running away, bringing them to justice, right? Motherfucking Gerald just undid all of that. And I'm super happy that Dash had this epic moment where he could sweep in and like be the diplomat. But I had a very impassioned diss on Gerald to fire back at him about all that talk about a man and all this. I was gonna
you said you were going to leave it out. So you want to tell us now?
Well, I don't remember exactly what I was going to say, but I was formulating it while he was talking, and it was going to center around how I was in the wastes and killing the enemies of the Kingdom of Usma, keeping Tyrlin safe while he was in his cushy palace surrounded by his servants. And while I like to wear nice clothes, I like to also get things done. And I'm not a talker; I'm a doer. And then I'm going to do his wife right in front of him.
Yeah, I like
Jeffrey Bezos.
Jeffrey Bezos.
But I was, and here's the thing. So I've been kind of leaning into this idea of Arthur, like definitely being more flirty towards men, but realizing that like the flirtiness is a tool that can go both ways. And when fucking Gerald said that to me, I was like, so Celeste stayed behind, right? Like, because I was going to definitely, have her on my arm and like just flaunt that in front of Gerald and show her all the things that she's missing. That was not my intention. I was going to do that to Gerald. I was going to fucking take his ass up on a magic carpet ride. And came up against a stone wall on that one. And then I was going to try and be more subtle about the whole fucking man comment thing, but I just could not let it pass. And every single time I was talking, I was like, I also wanted to work in a whole thing about how Wolf probably showed him how to polish spears properly and like, all these dirty sexual innuendos and stuff. Didn't quite get there. I dropped the ball a few times, but
thanks for reining it in.
So now I don't feel bad about telling the dragons about all this shit. And in fact, I am dead fucking serious about if the dragons make a move, I'm gonna make sure that we're on top. I ain't going down with the Kingdom of Usma.
I have a question for everybody after we go through the round.
All right.
That's me. So we can go to Riff. I'm glad that you had the idea about the rug, because I was like, well, you were kind of talking about it. And at first I was like, I thought it would be cool if Riff and them did steal it and did all this sort of stuff. But then I thought about it just as another way to get back at Gerald. So
and me as a player took advantage of that.
100%.
That was so. I have a couple of Rhett jokes here. Would I write stuff down because I don't want to interrupt all the time. First metagame minute, sexy Rhett. When Rhett's trying to be sexy and flirt, the whole golden skin with no shirt is better. I think it gives you more of like a pizzazz as you do it. 2, there was that thing you were talking to Celeste or whatever, and she was talking, and I thought she was going to be like, you guys were talking, and you said something to her, and then Alex started to respond. I thought she was going to respond with like, "I'd love a ride on that. I'd love a ride on that on that with you, Arthur." Like,
yeah.
And then as like Gerald, like right after that, Gerald was doing something, and I wanted to interject, like Riff flies by the window and hears her and was like, "Fuck you guys, wee," or whatever. No, yeah, Riff super interested in the. Super interested. It's so funny because we started with the examination of the UFO and all that shit in the bushes. Like, I was super interested in that, and I was actually kind of happy that it wasn't like a metamorphosis thing of like how like Julia had somehow done the same thing with electronics and metal that we had done with like the branches and that sort of thing.
I thought that was clever. That I hadn't thought of that. That was really good.
So I thought that was really cool. I really enjoyed I really fucking hated the fact that I wasn't going to be allowed to like sit like with the big kids, where like I thought that was a fun little piece of RP between you and me, Alex, where you were like, so wait, the big kids do what? Like, you know, like Sanj was definitely just confused. And I was like, because I live at the monastery, like everyone probably eats in the same room, you know, at like long Hogwarts like tables or whatever like that, you know, like, and I'm the shadow monk of the age and all that shit. So it's like, and I'm used to being around all these guys who like, they treat me, except for Arthur most of the time, they treat me like an adult. And I love the really being able to like lean into like the little kid thing of like storming off and like throwing my shit around upstairs, and like he saw his birds. And then, dude, what a fucking great moment. Are those the checks that you made for me?
That was amazing.
Shit. And I'm so happy that, I don't know, maybe I RP'd it well enough for you that you didn't make me roll for like convincing him or whatever, or maybe he's just like enamored
Sanj
enough with me.
He's just so excited about all this, you know. You could
Brilliant.
have him believe just about anything.
I'm curious, did Bentley remember before Riff started saying that?
100% not.
Okay.
The look on his face was like, oh fuck.
Yeah. Way to RP it. That was good.
Yeah.
It was, dude, this episode had so many good RP moments, and when I'm done with Dash, I want to hit some of them.
Yeah, and then like I really like the whole thing of like, I was like, you know, fuck that, we're gonna steal, like, let's not dissimilar to Zephyrus. Like, I think he and I think that's why probably, and good choice on your part, you know, with that whole, yes, we're putting it in the master bedroom, like, because I think at the end of the day, we both were like, dude, fuck this guy, like, this guy's a dick, like. And so I really enjoyed that part. And then like,
it's
Alex,
like the first time we've connected on that level.
on
all we needed was a rich
on petty revenge, yeah, because our egos were hurt, yeah, for sure. And but
wait, am I the kid in this one, or are you actually much more wise?
But yeah, I was just like, I was trying to act it out on my Zoom screen, like where I was just like staring at him eating the whole time.
I liked that,
and then I was like, fuck it, I'm out of here. And then thank you, Alex, for letting me take that magic carpet ride, because I was like, this is probably the silliest thing.
Yeah.
But those are all my favorite things, and I had a really, really good time. And I'm excited. Excuse me, I'm excited for the battle later, because I definitely, because that's the sister that talked down to me, right, and was like, you can't sit with the big kids at the big table. So I'm like, oh, I'm gonna beat
right.
Bobo.
That's who that was. But she was more like explaining what her father was like.
Sure, doesn't mean it didn't piss Ref off any less.
Right.
And I'm gonna I'll show you, little kid.
I still imagine Riff took it that way.
You know, like I'll be like, you know, because her idea is like, you know, I'm gonna beat that. I'm gonna beat ass, and then they'll be like, I'll show you, and just like Zephyrus, oh, man work, huh? Little kid stuff, huh?
I know, dude. The two kids fighting, and I'm just like, how can I work in more comments about manhood into here?
But yeah, that was a lot of that was a lot of fun, and I just want to put it on recording. Tomorrow, Riff goes and gets her shit from the library in case I fucking forget.
Yeah,
sure. I mean, yeah, we'll do that. We'll do that in session.
And fucking Yeah, Mr. Wolf. Mr. Wolf, let's kick it over to you, taking over Rent's job.
I have a great thing that I wanted to kick to Dash first, which was your fucking full on dad mode, your ultimate dad mode to Riff.
Yeah.
I can't, like, the way that you were like, well, Riff, maybe you could take Sanj to sit at the super stealthy table. Like,
That was perfect.
that was like the most quintessential, like, oh no, they changed carrots so they actually have candy inside of them.
It's the only thing that calmed Riff down and shut her up, and like that's why she stormed off, because I was like, because I respect Mr. Wolf. I'm like, fine, I'll go eat at that. But and then even then, like, she still snuck in and ate at the main kids' table.
Yeah, and Wolf would have, especially if Gerald was going to make a stink about Riff sitting at the with everyone else. Wolf would have said like, well, no, she sits with us, and that's how it's going to be. And
this is the Warriors table, and if you'd like to sit away from the Warriors table,
yeah, well then you got to show that you can kick ass, and if you can't, well then now you have to sit at the kids' table, you little bitch.
Sorry, Gerald.
Sorry,
Looks
Gerald.
like it's kids' table for you.
Sorry, I didn't know your little bitch name. And going into it, I kind of thought, like, initially when we talked like last metagame minute, like, oh yeah, when the royal whatever family comes, like, that Thrakus is gonna act like he's gonna treat them like buddies. But then I was thinking about it, and I was like, well, no, he was a soldier, so he would have been accustomed to like meeting certain people, and he would have had like decorum and like regimen and routine, so he kind of knew what to do.
Does Wolf have dress blues, like a formal?
Oh yeah, I mean probably somewhere. He didn't wear it from this though.
Okay.
He's not a soldier.
Put on the good loincloth.
Yeah. He put on a fresh
clean one.
He put on a fresh loincloth though, and So he knows how to walk the walk and kind of put on a little show when it's time for that. He knows how to do civilian life.
Yeah. I really enjoyed that whole thing, and the way you swooped in after fucking Gerald ripped me a new one. God damn it.
Yeah,
that was like
so good.
I'm gonna have to go back and listen to what Alex said, because I was like I was formulating what I was gonna say, but I was like legitimately stunned and speechless for a moment. And
yeah,
then, like,
he said something to the effect of like, instead of indulging in the whims of the wind or something like that.
Yeah,
it was
I was
this poetic cutting
bitch.
thing that it was like, oh god.
Also
Kinda made you look
mildly
like
racist.
Mildly racist, yeah.
Like, he had a couple mildly racist things. Like, God, there was another thing that Celeste said at the dinner table, and I was, they're talking about dragons and gold and all this sort of stuff, and I was just gonna be like, whoa. Like, okay, that's a stereotype. But anyway, Dash, just like, you swooped in and you were like, oh, well, allow me to do that. And I was like, fuck, Dash, just like, you swooped in perfectly. And like,
yeah, I figured it was probably best if I showed him around the grounds. And besides, it gave you a chance to kind of, do not man stuff and just talk to the lady.
Naturally.
And it makes Gerald feel special.
I was going to
feel
take
like.
her into the smoking room and get her high so she could come to the dinner table and be like, oh, Gerald, these mashed potatoes are simply divine. Have you ever tasted them before?
I mean, to be fair, you are wearing like your swoopy front-toed shoes or whatever.
Yes, I am.
Yeah, your fancy garb.
Yeah.
Time to get people high.
Yeah, I thought
You're the caterpillar.
Hi.
You're the caterpillar in Alice in Wonderland.
I thought Dash had a bunch of great. I call them maitre d moments, where he facilitated like a lot of really
He
good.
had really good ones.
Like, Dash was the only one keeping his head, and fucking me and Red are just stomping around like petulant children. Dash is like, "Excuse me, sir." Like, that's like the most like put together I've ever seen Mr. Wolf.
Yeah, and you like how I set you up for your little grand entrance?
Yeah,
Give you a
I
little,
love
like,
that.
I'll
Dude,
give
yeah,
you a little,
you
like,
were
fluff.
on point this episode.
Yeah.
Like, all of the role-playing moments with Wolf, I really liked this side of Wolf.
So good.
It was really fucking awesome.
Yeah, he was on his best behavior,
He's feeling pretty good after getting a badass hell horse. So
Yeah.
Mhm.
Oh yeah,
he
that
got
was
to- he
cool
got to-
too. How you greeted him out and you were like, "I'll kill you all," and they're like, "What?" And you're like, "Unless you're friends and we're good or whatever." Like, I like that.
I like that
yeah.
too. That was funny.
Cool. That's all I have to say.
Sweet. Yeah, Wolf was on point. And then kicking it to Alex, dude. your role playing of all of these different characters, like each one felt like it had very specific characterization, which was super
really good,
awesome.
man. Really good.
And again, like Gerald, like putting me in my place so fucking hard. I gotta go back and listen to it because it just felt like you'd been sitting on that one for a long time.
Yeah. This family, I came up with this kind of one night before we started the campaign. And so they're really fleshed out. Like the characters very much have their own motivations and all this, more so than some other characters, just because I've been able to spend the time with them. And when Arthur said that, it like hit the perfect nerve for Gerald. Like, you having dinner with him, you know that his job is to protect the city, and like he takes that so seriously. And like you were like, oh, it was the perfect moment. So many just really good RP moments this session.
I teed myself up perfectly, and I should have maybe went the way I was originally going to do it, but I just got this in my mind about wanting to sort of, I don't know, flirt with him a little bit, swoon him a little bit, try, and he just fucking, oh God.
Yeah,
pour me a new one.
He is singularly focused on his task, and I love that Celeste was there too, because they all met you before.
Yeah.
They all met Zephyrus, and Adrian may tell you about that time, but he was loud and exciting, and he was himself. He wasn't trying to be you, but you guys being similar helped ease that transition to this meeting.
Well, I am more excited than ever to interact with Celeste and sort of get my hooks in there in different ways. Because when the dragons come and burn Tyrlin down,
you're gonna save that lady.
She can watch her husband burn alive. Yeah.
Well, you stand over
from a magic carpet above their palace.
Hell yeah.
Oh,
if
Lord,
only there was a manlier escape.
As you're holding her in your arms on the carpet, looking down, be like, "It's too bad you can't save them all."
Oh, I tried so desperately to save your husband, but the heat of his bones burning sent an updraft that even my mighty flying carpet couldn't overcome.
Oh no!
Dark.
Oh no!
And then, of course, Alex, your role playing as Sanj is like,
that was a lot of fun,
delightful. Man. Every single time Sanj comes up, I am excited for those moments.
Yeah,
so.
Me too. It's fun to like do little kid stuff.
Yeah,
and again, thanks for the magic carpet ride. That was probably one of the silliest things I've ever done playing D&D.
Fucking the best.
And I loved hitting the spots you'd seen before, and going around the ground. It's like, well, yeah, it's right there.
I thought you were gonna grab some sticks from that tree to make another nunchuck for him, but
Riff is gonna go back definitely.
Yeah, we can even say now, you guys spent some time out there. If you grabbed the wood during that trip,
all right, yeah, I was going to bring that up and be like, hey, could we stop and like we'll like get wood that feels good to him or whatever. Cool.
Yeah. No, he's
cool.
excited to see it, change and get it himself. He's
I like that he helps choose his.
Yeah.
Yep.
I'm excited for this fight next time. And Alex, unless you have anything else that you want to add to this, I think we can let the rest of our players go.
Wait.
Oh God.
No, I had that question.
Oh yeah, your question.
Remember? I'm curious. Yeah. Sorry to bring it back into
no.
logic, but do you guys? I want you to tell me if you feel more or less like Usama is maybe not the right party to be fighting for, and these elves and these dragon are maybe not as evil as they're portrayed. You know?
I don't think I cared before, like the idea of sort of obeying the laws of Usama and trying to establish myself as like an actual established and known noble was sort of like where I was trying to go. This idea of playing into the laws, even if Zephyrus doesn't necessarily agree with the laws that often ever, but this idea of sort of trying to uphold them and sort of I was trying to go for that. And now I really am of the opinion that I'm going to survive even if bad things happen to Usama, and maybe we can rebuild Usama, starting with Tyrlin in a better light, with me at the top of it.
Is that mostly it for you? It's opportunistic.
Well, it's always been opportunistic. Like, it's everything that Zephyrus has done has been trying to make the best of holding the shit end of the stick, you know? Like, my family sent me out here, you know, for reasons that I didn't agree with or necessarily want, but, you know, you try to make the best of it. And yeah, I think it's all about just whatever I got to do. I mean, people assume because you were born into money or you all these types of things that oh, life's so fucking easy for you, and in a way it is, but it's also not. Like, we had to fucking make a lot of hard choices out there in the waste. We had to do a lot of things, and but yeah, it's opportunistic.
Cool.
And actually right now it's fucking revenge.
Yeah. What about you, Dash? Are you feeling, well, you are a soldier. Wolf is a soldier of Usama, so I think I might know what your answer is going to be, but I don't want to.
And General Lee was a fucking soldier of the Union at one point too. Never mind, that was bad.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I think if Usama did turn out to be, like, I don't know, the bad guys or the villains in some way, or their goals and their kind of what their end game is, you know, so much more different than what Wolf's kind of moral center is, then I think that would really shake him to his core, because he fought for this kingdom, you know?
Killed a lot of people for them.
Yeah, I mean, it would be like if, you know, like someone was a soldier for Germany and then quit and then turn around and then it became like, you know, the Nazis. And it was like, oh, fuck.
Yikes.
So, yeah, I don't know.
I mean, if it turned out that Usama was being kind of bad, like, could you justify turning on them because of, like, you follow Cord? You know, like,
well, I mean,
Cord's
that's his
law.
ultimate goal. So obviously, if someone's harming people and innocence, that's a no for Wolf.
Cool.
So that's where his kind of moral center is.
Okay. Scory, I feel like he probably is somewhat neutral in this, because he's seen enough organizations, big and small, political and non-political, that they all have good qualities, they all have bad qualities, things you turn your eye away from, you know, just kind of let it happen because it's part of the whatever environment you're in. So I don't think he's necessarily tied to Usama as the right side necessarily to be on. But you know, there are still things that need to be seen in order for him to be willing to make the jump. What about you, Riff? Bentley?
She didn't have any loyalty to Usama specifically beforehand, because she was, you know, at a monastery. When you met her, she was probably, I always sort of envisioned it 30 or less days out, like on her quest, and you guys were kind of like the first folks that she met up with, and she's doing like her ride along with, if you will. She's always been about knowledge. She's always been about, you know, I mean, there's been obviously multiple times that we fought about it where it's like, those people on the side of the road aren't doing anything to us. And yeah, sometimes that's come back to bite us every single time. But, but like, at the same time, like, she also she's not trying to start shit with people, because she wants to know the world. She wants to learn about the world and wants to do it. And, you know, the elves of Gallandor, like, they have an illusionist side to them. And how I built Riff and how Alex and I had talked about her, yes, she's a shadow monk, but she's also an illusion wizard, and that's just part of her shadow stuff. So it's like she's interested in that stuff because she's also an academic. And she has no problem, because she came from a monastery where there's every type of race, every type of, like, she's I put him that giant 7'8" turtle that I played in Dash's bad guy campaign or whatever.
Yeah.
I have like a kind of like a good guy version of him essentially. But like, that was a friend of hers. And so she's friends with, like, you know, she's friends with that, you know, with, back of the monastery, you know, she's got shadow teachers that have passed on that are kind of like, Jedi Force ghosts that, but from the shadows that teach her, and vampires and all sorts of different types of races. Like she's been around a lot, and so she doesn't necessarily always understand, which is why she's also like slower to jump to conclusions about people just because of whom and or what they are.
We have a lot to learn from her.
Yeah, she's more like, she's probably thinking like, I hope no one that we met got hurt, just because like then she would have something to process. She hopes that what's his name? Tiernan?
Yeah.
Tiernan. She hopes he's okay. Actually, I had that thought. I was like, what if, unfortunately, because remember he reset his ballistas for us for like to not. So if they didn't fucking scan the right people and they didn't fire on the fucking bad guys because he reset them and shit? Like Alex is nodding. Fuck you if that's the fucking thing.
He specifically turned them off against Warforged. We don't know if Warforged were there, but if they did show up, they did not work on him.
Yeah, and so like that thought went, but yeah, like she still wants to go to like the Elves of Galandor and talk about their illusion because they approach it like in a different way. Like she wants to learn as much as she can to be, David Carradine on Kung Fu essentially. But if it's going to attack her friends and going to attack the people that she cares about, she'll fight against it. Simply because, but she doesn't necessarily like, she kind of thinks Glendale or what, the main guy, Rhett's emesis, Gerald, Lord Gerald. She kind of thinks he might not necessarily be on the up and up, and that sort of thing. So she's going to be much more weary, and she really wants to solve all that stuff that I said in like the last metagame about like all the things that she's going through. She had a whole PowerPoint. She wanted to like again. She wanted to share all of this stuff, and this is the third time that it didn't work out. So 3 strikes, you're out. She's keeping all that shit to herself, except for that wonderful moment she had with you, Scory.
I made it in. Alex, so I want to know how much you actually have determines, like, is Usama evil or good? The elves and the dragon are, do you have that figured out, or are you just presenting the facts and letting the group decide what they feel is more acceptable or not?
I mean, for me, you make an organization or something like you were saying, even there's good and there's bad, and it's what parts are you interacting with, what parts do you see, and that'll kind of tell you what's going on. So all of these different groups, all these different organizations, like I've got a big just piece of paper that says all, like Dragon Council, they're interested in this. Usama, they're interested in this. This part of Usama's interested in this.
So in another
competing forces.
Interesting. So in another lifetime, it's in another lifetime, it's possible that that we would be with the Dragon Council,
we can forge
and
our
against
own faction.
Usama, or with the mages and against Usama.
Yeah. Oh yeah, no, all those paths exist.
Nice.
We're going to be the next mage war against Usama.
Yeah,
I did like that when you said
present,
that.
That Dragon Council NPC without, without having that path available to you.
Interesting.
You all want to go have an audience with the Dragon Council, that might, be possible.
Hell yeah.
Gosh.
Or
I will say,
Galandior, or
hell
all these,
yeah.
There's all these places.
I definitely want to talk to those elves.
Yeah,
That'd be
you
cool.
have kind of that. You have got the invite now from that sending stone that Ball did earlier.
And I'd be excited to do all that. That sounds like unique and exotic compared to, I mean, everything we've done is unique and exotic compared to what we've been doing every time it's new, but that is the new thing. So
thank you for answering my question at the end there. That took up just as much time as a normal metagame minute, so I'm sorry about that, but
it's all good. Yeah, let's go ahead and cut it there, though, guys. That was fantastic. It's a lot of fun talking about this because this is a super RP heavy episode, and I think it shifted a lot of things for a lot of us. So,
for sure,
guys, this has been your Metagame Minute, and it's your once weekly follow-up podcast, your favorite Chaotic Amateurs podcast. So why don't you go ahead and come back here on Monday and figure out who wins the duel of the children.
Half expected you to say, so why don't you go on and go fuck yourselves now?
So why don't you go ahead and make like Lord Gerald and go fuck yourself. We'll see
Good
you
night,
on Monday.
everybody.
Grab your swords and keep on adventuring.
Oh, that's good. I do have to go.